Salam guys! Welcome to Twice Inspired with Habiba
and Shukri.
So we really hope this podcast will inspire you.
We're just two best friends who love to have deep, meaningful conversations.
And even though the things we're going to talk about are nothing new,
sometimes it's helpful to hear it twice, so you can be twice inspired.
Salam.
How is everyone doing?
We hope well. Welcome to episode 6.
Welcome to episode 6. Oh my days, I can't believe it's episode 6. That's actually crazy.
It's been 12 weeks.
Oh my days, yes.
It's been like 3 months.
Oh my days, yeah. That's kind of crazy. Oh no.
But when we release this, it will be 3 months.
Yeah, so in like 2 weeks' time. But how are you, Habs?
I'm okay, alhamdulillah. I kind of miss home and miss family and miss my routine because I have no routine here, so it's just a shambles. Mm-hmm. But all is good. I can't complain. Alhamdulillah, I'm in the sunshine.
Alhamdulillah, that's good. Hopefully you're back soon because everyone misses you in rainy London. Like, it's so weird though. The weather was really nice and hot, and then it got really cold and rainy. But I think it's going to get more and more hot because it's becoming spring now. Yeah. I love spring.
Hopefully by the time I come back, it will be nice weather.
Yeah, hopefully. And because it's my birthday in spring, so I just love it.
Yeah, spring's nice because it's like that glimmer of hope and sun, and everyone just gets so excited. And I love it.
Exactly. Like
I get excited.
The weather's just like, the weather affects, you know how like that thing, like SAD, it's called SAD, like seasonal affective disorder, I believe. I don't know if that's right.
Oh.
But, you know, like this, the weather affects how you feel. I definitely have that, I think.
You think?
Do you have that? So like,
I do. Yeah. Because I'm happier in the summer, but like, I could also still be sad.
When it's sunny, like when it's winter, it's just like dark and gloomy. But the thing is, I like rain if I'm indoors, and I like snow. So like sometimes winter can be nice because, you know, like when it's like Christmas, obviously you don't celebrate Christmas, but it's like it's holidays, there's good vibes, like it's a nice time, you know.
I like the vibes of winter, but when I'm cold, I hate feeling cold. Like, I just hate it. Like, I don't know, it's just not for me. So it just doesn't feel right for you. Yeah, like it just hurts. Like, whereas being hot, obviously, it's not nice, but it's like it's bearable. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I like being hot. I genuinely, like, when I was younger, I used to hate too much. Like, you know, when it's so hot, the only bad thing about hot weather is like, is like when it's so hot that you can't sleep at night and you're just sweating and it's disgusting. But apart from that, I just love it. Like, just to be free.
And not have to worry about like yourself being in pain from the cold. And just oh my god, like waking up for Fajr and things like that in winter, and it's like cold and like the cold water and all of that. Oh my gosh, no. Alhamdulillah, we have heating and hot water and stuff.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I think also just like sunshine and brightness represents like a good day, you know, like, you know, when you wake up and I feel like obviously everyone needs the sun, isn't it? Like, you actually need it. Like, I don't know, for me it helps me. Yeah, vitamin D, like it actually helps me feel good for my bones, everything. Like, but
yeah, 100%.
I think, okay, should we talk about Harry and Meghan's interview? Because I think
I haven't watched it because I can't. You're gonna have to tell me everything about it. But yeah, I can't watch the interview because I'm abroad, and I don't know why it's not online or on YouTube. Like, why are they not the world to see?
I think because so
they want money from it. That's why, bro.
No, but who? Harry and Meghan? They actually said in the interview that they're not getting paid for that interview with Oprah, that worldwide.
Okay.
House doesn't believe anything. No, so basically, but it might be obviously like in time they might just put it on YouTube, or they might, but I don't know, because if they did put it on YouTube, they probably would get money from it. But it's actually just on ITV. But so I don't know. Try go online ITV Hub. You can watch.
You're in another country, innit?
Oh, okay, that's peak. But yeah, so basically, I think this was like a few days ago. Obviously, this will be in 2 weeks later, but it actually came out like 3 days ago, 4 days ago, and they just did this big, like, it was so hyped, like it was like, oh my god. And there were these little clips. I'm sure you see the little clips of like Oprah. She was like were you silent or were you silenced? Like, it was so funny, like, and everyone on Twitter was talking about it, like all the dramatics of it and stuff. But okay, so like if I had to give a highlights of it, so if people that have watched it, you know this, but if you haven't, okay, let me try and give you a brief overview. So first of all, we started with Meghan, and she was talking about how she was treated and how like she hadn't read anything before about the royal family, about how like she would have to act. So she was kind of shocked, and she did say like if she had read up on it and researched and stuff, because Oprah was like, you didn't research? Like, she was kind of shocked by that, and she was like, no. And if I had, like, maybe I wouldn't be in this position, because she was just describing how like it was really difficult for her. Like, obviously with the media,
marry into a royal family and act the same.
No, but like, I think she knew she would have to act different in terms of like what she does. She kind of, it was a job, right? But I didn't know any of the things that she was saying either. Like she wasn't allowed out, basically. She had to give up. She wasn't allowed out. Like, there was this one day she was like, can I just have lunch with my friends? I haven't left this house for months. And they were like, no, because like you're all in the media right now and it's too hot or whatever, like you can't go anywhere. And then she was just really upset.
What was Harry on?
She couldn't see her friend. So, but Harry, like, obviously he was there with her, but he was obviously like away sometimes for work and blah blah.
But when they met, did he not? Maybe he assumed she knew, but like,
yeah, maybe he assumed she knew.
Her like, this is how it is when you get married into the royal family, or like.
Yeah. And she was saying like she gave over like her passport, her driving license, everything. Like, it's like they were basically. But then Harry was also saying that like he was trapped. It was so juicy. Like, he was saying,
oh my gosh, wait, I don't know if I want you to tell me this. I think I might want to wait until.
Okay, no, what, it would still be juicy because the way they're saying it and stuff. But like, they were just saying all these stuff, and that was to do with just being in the royal family. And I guess people can say, well, if you're a royal, you're a royal, and this is what they all do. But there's the other element that we all know, because she's Meghan Markle and she's biracial, and like,
I kind of more care about that stuff.
Yeah, that's the part. So like, she was talking about that, how that was really bad, because her parents, or like her friends, her mum, not her parents, her mum would like call her and tell her all the things, because she didn't read the newspaper, she didn't see what was happening, because she wasn't anywhere. Like, no, because they were like to her, like, Meghan, are you okay? Blah blah blah. Like, Meg, have you seen this? Like, and she didn't know because she hadn't seen all of this. But she started to realize that, like, because she thought the royal family were protecting her, because they told her that. They said, obviously, you're going to be protected. But all these things that were coming out in the newspaper were lies. But no one was saying, oh, that didn't happen, or like, basically no one was protecting her, and her friends and people close to her were alerting her, like, do you know what's going on? And I think someone said to her like, oh my god, you're everywhere. But she said she was like, I hadn't gone anywhere. Like, I was nowhere, but I was everywhere. So, you know, like, we're seeing all these newspapers, but she's like doing nothing. And then Oprah kind of took her through some of the things, like, you know, the avocados, and like when she was eating it compared to when Kate was eating it, and then like the hand on the baby bump, and like how it was caring when Kate did it. And for her, it was like, why is she obsessed with her baby bump? Is she so vain and whatever? Like, just crazy.
That's
like,
really sad, man, that people even say that kind of stuff.
Just crazy stuff. Like, it was ridiculous.
I actually hate the media so much.
Yeah, they're so evil. And like, and obviously everyone always says this as well, but it's like, she, at the beginning, I feel like everyone did like her. But I don't know, like, I feel like, you know, when we found out Harry and Meghan are dating, like, I feel like everyone was like liking her. But then obviously, I guess because she's American, she's a divorcee, and obviously she's black, even though she's like mixed race and she's light skinned.
I feel like if she wasn't black here, it wouldn't even be half. It wouldn't even they wouldn't have said anything bad about her. I think it is purely just because she has some black in her. I don't really think all the other stuff matters that much.
Yeah, that's what I think as well, to be fair. But and then like oh my days, so this was like it was so dramatic, like, and like she said that when she was pregnant, there were conversations like in the family about like them being concerned about how dark the baby would turn out.
A snippet of that.
Yeah, and Oprah was like,
clip it.
What? Did I say clip it?
Yeah, I said clip it.
Oh, and then Oprah was like, what? And then it was a break. It was so dramatic, yeah. But it was dramatic because it was like, oh my god, because and then Harry.
When I saw that, I was like, obviously they would do that. Like, why are people shocked that the royal family's racist? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, this is like a public thing. Like, no one's gonna call their race. Like, yeah, I think for us, like personally, we probably think obviously they're racist. You know what I mean? But to say these huge allegations from someone who's in the family, because it was actually Harry who told her. And then when Harry came on, he was like, yes. And he was like, I'm not going to say who it was. Like, I'm not comfortable sharing who it was. But now in the newspapers and stuff, like they're having the Queen. I feel like the Queen came off really good in the interview. I like the Queen. Wait, I think she's really good. No, like through their interview, she came really good. Like they were saying really good things about her. Like,
is it?
She was, yeah. And like, it's kind of hinting at the fact that like people kind of tell her what to do and she doesn't really have that much power. Like, but she was always nice to her. She was always nice to Meghan.
Like, she does look like a really cute, miskin old woman. Like,
yes. I like the Queen. She came off really nicely, and like Harry was saying how he loves his grandmother and all of this stuff. But he said his dad wasn't returning his calls. So it was so dramatic. Like there was so many like Charles. I've never liked Charles, but like he was just saying he doesn't return his calls. But he didn't comment too much. Even with his brother, he said that he's working on the relationship, all this stuff. Like, so I think they're kind of whatever. They obviously didn't like it that he's deciding to leave now because he's married to this lady, whatever. But he basically said, I saw what happened to my mother, because Diana was kind of like that. She didn't want to follow all these rules. She wanted to be free. And there's that famous interview of her.
He knows what happened to his mum, man.
Yeah, so he's like, I want to protect her. And obviously his dad wasn't there. That's a big difference. Like when she was in that interview, like Charles wasn't there because he's cheating on her anyways. But like he was there for his wife and he wanted to protect his family, and it was cute. Like, but oh my days. So yeah, now the media is like talking about the Queen said something like, oh, we'll always love you to those two. And she said she's had conversations with like, so basically I think she's had like conversations with the person who apparently said it, and there's like varying versions or whatever, but they're actually like looking into it. They're not just saying this is fake and we're denying it and we're not racist. They're actually, obviously they're saying
so that was the thing that was racist. Nothing else that the royal family did. Was it?
Yeah, that was the main part. And also basically their child Archie, like he wasn't gonna get a title, he wasn't gonna have security, and all of this kind of stuff. But I guess that was the main huge one. And then there was like the fact that they weren't saying anything to the press to like help her. Oh yeah, oh my god, another huge thing was that she basically felt suicidal. I mean, did you know Piers left Good Morning Britain?
Why?
Did you know that? Sorry, but I hate Piers. So I'm happy
why?
With that. But
was he saying?
In the interview, she said that she had suicidal thoughts, which is a huge thing for mental health. She basically said she didn't want to live anymore, and Oprah was like, "Oh my god!" And obviously, it was like a huge thing. And then when they were talking about it, he was like, "I don't believe her. I don't believe a word she's saying. She's lying." And obviously ITV, like they're doing this whole mental health campaign, and you can't just say to someone that they're lying. He doesn't mind Meghan, but regardless, you don't say stuff like that.
I think he just says things to get clout.
And then basically Alex, this guy Alex on Good Morning, oh my days, he literally stuck it on him, and he was like to him,
"That's good.
You've been saying negative things about Meghan Markle for how many years just because you tried to reach out to her and she ignored you, so you feel upset about that." It was so funny. And then Piers walked out. He stood up and he said, "Nope, I'm not doing this." And he walked.
Oh my god, just cold, bruv.
And it's like, you do this every morning. You just pick on people and you make people angry.
Rubbish.
Yeah. And now, because you can't take the heat, like you shout out, but you can't take it because Alex just told you this, yeah. So he walks off, and everyone was like, "Oh my days." Anyway, and then the next morning it said Piers quit
No way. He should have been fired, mate.
Yeah, but people have always been what's it called, like signing petitions to have him fired because of
Is
all the
it?
crazy he says. Like all the time, there's always petitions. But maybe like he did take it too far. You never know. You know, sometimes like they say he left, but they could have said, like, do you know what I mean? Maybe they could have fired him. Or
yeah, but they just gave him like that leniency kind of thing.
Yeah, like they gave him the chance
Not
to just
say he got fired. But no, yeah, back to that whole
But yeah,
so they didn't, like, obviously what they said about how dark the baby's gonna be, of course that's not, I'm not saying that's it and that's a little thing, but as in like I thought there would be a lot more that they kind of said about her.
That was like the key thing, because obviously like I don't think you can have like you shouldn't be concerned that the baby's going to be too dark. That's racist.
Yeah, of course that's racist, and we know that there's definitely people in the royal family who are going to be racist like that. But in a way, I'm happy that it wasn't more than that. Like they didn't say horrible things to her or like always bring up the fact that she's got black in her or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? I thought there would be more things, basically.
More things. But another huge thing was that she was basically saying about these suicidal thoughts, and then she like asked someone if she can get help because she's worried about what she's going to do, and then they said no. Like they said no, you can't get help. And she told Harry, and she was like, that's basically what made them lead to this decision, because like she was like crying to Harry and stuff, and he was really upset as well, and he wanted her to get help as well, but like she was pregnant. Yeah, and they were just like no. So that's why they made the decision to like leave, because she was like, one thing to compare it to is like now how we're in lockdown, but before people wouldn't really realize it. It's like you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, but it's like for her to come from freedom, like she was an actress, she made her own money, she wasn't like anyone, you know, a part of this kind of society. That's crazy to like go into that and not be able to do anything. And I think for the rest of them, it's easy to like do it because that's all they've known, isn't it? And like, I think even with Kate, like Kate and Will, like she was kind of part of that site, so she maybe got it. But he was like, you know, I was trapped and she saved me. How cute is that?
Oh, yeah, because leading on to that, you know, firstly, that's crazy that I never knew they were all trapped up like that. But is it just everyone that's trapped, not just her? Like
you would think that the Queen, the Queen of England can do what she likes, but she can't. Like it's not like that. Yeah. And it's like obviously now that you deeper, you're like, okay, obviously it wouldn't be like that. You can't just, you know, you're the Queen. But I don't know, sometimes I think you think royals, they're so privileged, they're so anything they want, they can have it, but they are not. Like she was basically talking about how there's like the firm or like the establishment, who there's the family, there's like these other people, I don't know what she's talking about, but they kind of control everything. And obviously if they have a deal with the media and like, but she was annoyed because it's like if anything comes out about, you know, Kate or Will or whatever, even Prince Andrew, who's a paedophile, you know, like they don't, like they will protect him and they won't let stories like that come out. But with Meghan, it's like, yeah, because Prince Andrew, like he was connected, you know, Jeffrey Epstein and stuff. And like he's like, I don't even know what's happening with that, but I don't think there's been any investigations and stuff. I don't want to mistalk, that might be wrong.
Prince Andrew, not gonna lie,
he's I don't know, let me quickly check. He's just in the royal family. He's one of the, I don't know if he's one of the kids or one of the.
Yes, they were specifically like, they just didn't care about her basically and didn't care to
he's Prince Andrew's the Queen's son. Yeah. But yeah, so basically they didn't really care about him. I mean her. They didn't protect her. Because if you think about it, like I think Oprah was basically like saying all of the things that they've said about her. And it was just ridiculous because no one can deny it. But on Twitter and stuff, like all the commentary, there was still people like, no, that's not racist, blah blah blah, this and that. It's not because of her. But it's like, just stop being silly now. Just admit it.
Yeah, so why are they allowing that to be said about Meghan but not Kate?
Exactly. Like with them, they would rather say it. I think, you know, it's not
a race issue.
Yeah. But you know, on Loose Women, this crazy lady Jane, I think, I really like her anyway, she was like, you know, when they're saying that comment, it could just be because, you know, they're older people in the family. It's just casually racist rather than like actual racism. Like, and everyone was like, what do you mean casual race? Like, this is how people in the UK think. Like, they feel like there's casual things, like they don't, it's not a deep thing. Like, it's just.
Yeah, that's what someone said to me. They were like, oh, if you think about it, the Queen comes from a generation that is so old, blah, 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 when she was alive, slavery existed. I was just like,
so
it wasn't even the Queen anyway who was saying that stuff. So
yeah, like it wasn't the Queen. The Queen's actually nice, but it's like, I feel like that kind of excuse and stuff is just like, I just don't think it works anymore. Like, you just.
Yeah, and it's like, that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't mean anything to
just
me.
because you're old, it doesn't mean that you can be racist. Like, I just don't get it. Like,
Exactly.
we're living in today's world. You can't, like, there's just no there's no, but I feel like it's good because it's like, it was, everyone kept saying this explosive thing and it's such a bombshell interview, yeah, but all the black women that went on the news and things to talk about it, they were like, this is not surprising.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not surprising. Like if you learn history, babes, you know what the royal family's about. Like,
yeah. And they were saying all the things that she's talking about and what's been printed and things like that, and her experience is our experience. Like, so a lot of black people can kind of see themselves in it. So they're like, this is not like a new thing. Like, we all can see that in different ways. But I think, I don't know, for some reason, Britain and British TV and British newspapers and things just cannot admit, like, they just will not admit that, you know, this country's racist. Like, I don't know.
I know, it's because it's like they just see it. Racism is only something that is like in your face.
Yeah, because they're not killing us and calling us the N-word every day walking down the street, they feel like it's fine. Because they're not killing us as much as in America and stuff, they feel like that's not racism. But
I know. These people are crazy. But also, yeah, like, because someone was saying to me how, oh, why is Meghan doing this to Harry? She's taken him away from his family. Now, if they ever get separated, he's going to be like left alone, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, just because he's a real man and he's able to stand with his wife and stand for justice, stand for truth, and he has the guts to do it and the balls to do it, and you little pesky little men don't, don't be getting at him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just projecting their own insecurities and their own inability to be fucking real men. It just pisses me off. I'm just so anti-men, you know. I'm joking. I'm actually not, but as in, like, I'm just so fed up of the mentality some men have today.
That's his family though. Meghan and Archie, and now she said that she's having a baby. She's having a girl. She told us.
Yeah, because she looked a bit big. I was thinking, is she pregnant?
Yeah, she was pregnant and she's having a little girl, and like, that's their family now. But like, I know people are saying that, but it's like,
you stand up for justice no matter what it is. Like, the Prophet ﷺ told us, like, even if it's your brother, you stand up for justice. So don't come to me about, oh, Harry's snaking his family and she's making him do it, and like, oh, he's going to be all left. No, like, he stood up for justice. That's that.
Exactly. She taught him, like, he was saying he didn't know anything about like unconscious bias or like racism, and Oprah was like, so you didn't know any of this before you were with Meghan? He was like, no.
Bias? Like, just not being biased to people.
Yeah, no, like having prejudice. Like, it's like you don't know it, but you treat people differently from how you see.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like he didn't know about any of this kind of stuff. Like, so she helped him to realize that, because of course she's biracial and she has a lived experience, and like, he was like, yeah, like, and the thing is, he's man enough to admit that he's Prince Harry. Why would he know about institutional racism and unconscious bias? Then no one's ever going to teach him that. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. He's grown up in a world like sheltered, and because she like opened his eyes and made him realize this, like, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And like, I don't think he'll, at the end of the day, like, he's still, but it is sad because basically he wanted to go and see the Queen, and then he like called her, his grandma, like he called her. She was like, yeah, you and Meghan come, blah, 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 blah. And then like someone else called him, like, you know, they always talk about these other people that are like, and they were like talking to him, and he was like, yeah, I wanted to come and see the Queen, and they were like, oh, she's busy today, and he was like, oh, but I spoke to her on the phone, and they were like, she's busy, and she's busy for the rest of the week as well. And he was like, okay, because they were coming to London that time. And then he called her and she was like, yeah, it turns out like I have, like apparently there's something on my calendar that I didn't know about and stuff. And then she was like, yeah, and it looks like it's for the rest of the week. And I just felt so sad then, because I was just like, he just wants to see his grandma. Like,
that is sad. That's mad. It's mad though, because it's like the grass is always greener on the other side. You think, we're thinking, oh, the royal family's living up this nice life, blah 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 blah. But it's like, I would never even want to be in that position.
Exactly. And like I respect Harry for not like, he wasn't like completely turning on his family and saying like they're all this and that, blah blah blah. He was saying he understands why they act the way they do, because they have to follow certain procedures, certain protocols, and this is just how it is, and they are in that kind of system. So he was being understanding with that. But obviously for him and himself, he decided that like he doesn't want to have that life. So he literally had to leave, you know?
Yeah, everyone's making this big deal. Oh my gosh, he left his family. He left. Mate, he's happy with that decision. It seems like the best decision he's probably ever made. Because like imagine the kids as well. They would probably have to go through all of that as well. Obviously.
And it's like your wife is literally having a breakdown and having suicidal thoughts, saying that she can't be left alone. How are you meant to, like, you need to protect her. That's your job. Like, and clearly they don't care about her that much and they're not protecting her. And she was saying that this is why people need to understand that nothing is ever as it seems. Like, she was saying that there was this time where she was literally like having a breakdown and she was crying and she didn't want to live and all this kind of stuff. And then they had to go to an event, and then he was like, you know, you don't have to go if you don't want, kind of thing. And she was like, I can't be left alone. So she had to go, and then she was like, okay. And then she got dressed up and she looked so beautiful and amazing. Yeah. And she had this like beautiful dress on, and people and her friends were like saying to her, you look amazing, you look so happy, blah, blah, blah. But it's like deep down inside, she's like so sad. You know what I mean? Like, you would never. And when she's going on these tours and they're going to different countries and they're doing what they need to do, you know, like she seems so happy and so, you know, settled into her new life. But behind the scenes, it's like,
that's mad. It just shows like social media and things aren't as they appear to be.
But yeah, it is really interesting, and everyone's been talking about that. But
yeah, no, it is mad.
Yeah, another sad thing in the news, that I'm trying to do like segues, it's hilarious. But another sad thing is the story of Sarah Everard. Have you heard of it? Like, but if you're on Twitter, you know about it. And like, she was a woman that got, basically, she was missing for ages, and she went missing in like South London, like
point. That park is down my road.
Yeah, which is so scary. And everyone was like, oh my god, where is she? And then like recently they found out that she was kidnapped and killed by a police officer. Okay. Yes, she's a police officer. And like now they're starting the investigation and stuff. And she was walking home from her friend's house.
It wasn't even that late. It was 9 p.m.
Yeah, it was like 9, and she was like on the phone with her. She had earphones and she was on the phone with her boyfriend. And like, I think people were talking about how she did all the normal things that you would do, like tell people where you are, speak to someone on the phone, blah blah blah, and like discussing how bad it was. And then obviously open up the discussion of like harassment or abuse against women.
Yeah.
And like, I find it surprising that people are still saying things like, you know, women shouldn't be walking late at night, but it's not even that. It's the fact that like, whenever this kind of comes up, I feel like men see it as an attack if you say certain things. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that, but it's like talking about how women are abused and how they are not able to do certain things because of the fear of what men will do to them always opens up this debate. And I feel like men get offended by that.
Do they?
And it's stupid. Like,
what men get offended by that?
No, but that's what I mean. I feel like
ones.
Huh?
The abusive ones.
Exactly. It's only if you're abusive that you would think about that.
How did they link the police to it?
I don't know. I was watching the clip and they said that they arrested a guy. Obviously, he's under investigation, but he I think, I don't want to make things up, but I'm just going to say I don't know.
I'll just read an article about it.
Yeah, no, just
I see bits and bobs from like when people talk about it on my WhatsApp family chat and stuff, but
I saw it on the news, but they basically said like, you know, Wayne, whatever his name is, 30 whatever old, is like, has been taken into custody.
Yeah, I'm sure he's white.
Yeah, he is white. He's white.
No one wants to mention how white he is.
He's a police officer, and do you know what makes me scared? I'm like, she probably thought if she saw him that she would be safe. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like she probably thought, oh, he's a police officer. If anything, I feel okay and I feel safe because even though this is late, the police officers are there to protect people.
Yeah, but she like something from a horror movie. Do you know when you watch the movies and it ends up being the police officer and stuff?
It's so scary.
And do you know all them serial killers documentaries we were watching on Netflix? It literally reminds me of that. And I remember thinking, like, when I was watching these documentaries, I was like, it's crazy because like it could happen to anyone. Any of us could just be walking down the road and a serial killer could just be like, that's my next target.
Yeah. And it's so scary because I feel like, I just feel sad because I'm just like, she was just going home, you know, she just saw her friend and she's just walking home, and like she probably did that journey all the time, like she probably didn't think anything of it. And it's like, now obviously in that area, everyone that lives in South London, they're gonna be like worried about their kids.
You know what's mad? In that park, there's always police there because there's this cafe. I don't know if you've walked past it, but there's this like little, do you know them box cafes you get that just caravan box kind of things? And so there's this caravan box cafe thing that's just been there for years near the pond. And like police are always there. I don't know why. It's like their go-to little cafe place. So imagine it was there where like it happened to her, because...
And that's what I mean. The police are patrolling the area.
I say that's down my road. That's literally, you walk down my road and it's right there. And I walk past there as well. I'm a bit careless like that. Like whatever time of night it is, I'll go for a walk if I feel like it. Obviously, I don't usually go for walks that late, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Now that obviously that's happened, I'll probably think twice.
Because it's so close to home for us. So I've seen it on everyone's feed because I'm like, oh my God, that's our area. Like everyone knows that. Everyone knows that area. And it's like, obviously it's gonna make people so worried and stuff like this when this happens. And it's like there's no... And then people were also telling their stories and stuff. And this woman was saying, people that are saying, oh, she shouldn't be walking so late by herself.
It wasn't even late.
People have been taken and killed and raped, in daytime as well.
Yeah.
Like people have been harassed and sexually abused in daytime as well. Like it's not anything to do with what you're wearing, what the person's doing. Like there's never in any, like, you know, if someone gets robbed, you never think, well, why did you have your things out? You'd never think that. You never blame someone. If someone got stabbed, you never think, well, why were you there? And it was late. Like you just...
I think the problem with the mentality of like how women are viewed and how men are viewed, it is all just wrong.
It is scary. But we were talking as well, isn't it, about like self-love and being comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, you know, that's so important.
You were talking about it, so
yeah, I was listening to a podcast, Unsweetened and Unfiltered, one of their latest episodes, and they were talking about like how you should stay single until you feel comfortable with being single. So it's kind of just that whole topic of like loving yourself enough that you're comfortable with being by yourself before getting married, kind of thing. And obviously you're married now, so it would be interesting to have your perspective on that. And me as an unmarried woman, I think obviously everyone wants to get married. It's a normal desire within us as human beings to want to be married. So it's not a thing where it's like you want to be single forever and you're just happy to be single. Of course, no, you're always going to have that desire to be with someone. But I think it is important to be at a level where you are comfortable with yourself and you're comfortable doing your thing, finding yourself, like you love yourself enough to not feel like you need to get married in order to feel completed or to feel filled completely. Yeah, to basically feel completed or to feel like you love yourself more. Like I feel like we should love ourselves to a high level. So for example, if you love yourself to like a high level, you're not going to end up being with someone who doesn't value you as much as you value yourself, because you know where you are, like you know how much you deserve to be valued, kind of thing. So I think it is important to like have that self-value and that self-love, and yeah, just be comfortable like living your life by yourself, because you never know what could happen. Maybe that person might leave you one day, or maybe they'll pass away, or anything can happen. And it's like, obviously you're going to be distraught, and you're allowed to be distraught, but it's like you need to learn how to continue living your life as a single person, kind of thing. And if you've not had experience doing that and being happy doing it, it's like will be more difficult, because
no, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think it's very important to like in Yasmin Mujahid's book, like she talks about you shouldn't be, is it Purification of the Heart? Yeah.
Reclaim Your Heart.
Reclaim Your Heart. Is that another book for me? Okay.
Yeah.
Reclaim Your Heart. It's about like you shouldn't attach your heart to any, like I feel like that book changed my life, I'm not gonna lie, honestly, because like subconsciously I always remember it, because it's like she talks about how you should never attach your heart to anything in this world, not even people. So obviously materialistic things, everyone's like, of course you shouldn't be obsessed with money or things, but even people, like even your parents, the people that you love, you shouldn't attach your heart to that, because those are things of this world. You only attach it to Allah, which that's constant, and Allah's always going to be there for you. You're never going to not have that connection. So if you build that connection, then you have that. And I actually feel like that's the key to self-love, because even another honesty talk, they were talking about self-love literally, and they were saying that like if you want to like loving yourself leads to like loving Allah, like because you realize that like you're grateful for the person that created, not the person stuff, but you're grateful for the God that created you and gave you all of these things. And then of course you're gonna love yourself because you realize that, and you have that gratitude. And I think that is a huge change, like because a lot of people don't have self-worth, and then they have maybe a like kind of wrong view of like Allah and Islam, because they feel like I'm not that good, and I'm not worthy of that love. And I think that's dangerous. But once you do believe that, and you realize that like Allah will always be there for you and Allah will always love you, then you can kind of start that journey and relate it back to your own life. But I definitely agree with you. I feel like you should never be in a position where you're so reliant on someone else, for example your husband, and that is like the key to your happiness. Like no, that's not the key to your happiness, because as you said, anything can happen. But also that person is a human being, like they have flaws. They're not going to be able to support your all of that pressure and the burden that you put. Imagine someone telling you like, Habiba, my happiness depends on you. Like that's crazy, because you have your own life. Do you know what I mean? So you can't say to someone like, to your husband, my happiness depends on you. Like that's messed up. No, I don't think anyone in a marriage should do that. Obviously you make each other more happy, but also that's still through Allah, because like Allah brought you together, Allah bless your marriage, you're like you're pleasing Allah by being together and by being married. So there's a lot more like you get more rewards and things like that you're doing stuff. But I think 100% you do need to be, but the thing is, it is hard. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I just love myself my whole life. Like that's not true. Like I feel like self-worth especially, and self-love for like young girls is like really difficult, because like, and Samay from Honesty Talk said that like we're not taught it. Like we're not taught to love ourselves. I don't think anyone's like, and it is like obviously it's not like our parents, it's not their fault, but I think also just society as well. It's like I can't talk about men because maybe they have a different experience, but for women it's like all the things that are surrounded about how you look and what you need to do to look better, and all these products that are just constantly there for you to, if you want to have better skin, if you want to be thinner, if you want to whatever, your hair needs to look nicer, all of these, you're just constantly, all of that is centered around the fact that you as yourself, you're not good enough. Like as you were born, as your natural, and in your natural state, like you're not good enough. Like that, make yourself better.
That's mad.
And I think that's bad. And obviously, like, there's things that you can do to make yourself feel better, and I think that's what's key. Like, it has to start from inside, because there's people that look beautiful, they have amazing bodies, they seem to have everything that they need. Like, you'd think, you look so beautiful, how can you not love yourself? But I don't think it's about that.
Exactly. It's not about the physical, it's about the way you see yourself. And then you see some people who might not be like that pretty or anything, stuff like that. Obviously everyone's beautiful, and like you, in your eyes, you don't see them as someone who's like stunning, whatever, but like they think really highly of themselves and they love themselves, and that's amazing, because everyone should love themselves no matter what you look like. And also it should be about how you are as a person that is important. And I feel like that's what I actually struggle with. Like, sometimes I just think I can be a nicer person, like, and I'm a bit snappy and just like with my family and stuff, and that kind of, I don't like that part of me. Do you know what I mean? But
it's fine to like work on yourself, and like, you know, we always talk about self-development. I think that's part of it as well. But it's also just saying, like, I love myself and I value myself because I was created by, you know, God, and I appreciate that. So I'm gonna work on myself. I'm gonna become better in everything that I do. Like, that's fine. But if it's like, because I actually think that if you don't love yourself, you don't do that. Like, you don't think, let me go to the gym, let me do exercise, let me be healthy, because you don't like yourself. So why would you do that? Like, why would you look after yourself? And people don't realize that, like, especially, you know, when people like put on weight and stuff, and they think, well, if you don't like it, like, you should change that. But it's not easy like that. It's not like, I feel like people have a complex relationship with themselves, and the more that they dislike themselves, the more unlikely they are to change. So that's why people talk about this body positivity movement, which I agree with. And there were times when I didn't agree with it, because I was unhappy with myself, and so I wasn't in the right mind frame to accept it. But I do agree with that, and I think you do need to, whatever your body looks like and whatever your face looks like, you need to be positive about it, and you need to love it. And I promise you, then that's the only way you'll get better. Otherwise, you're just going to get worse.
Reading this post about like fat shaming, and it was saying how you should, like, if someone's like fat or something and they're just eating a lot, you shouldn't be like, oh well, you're doing it to yourself. Like, you shouldn't say negative things like that to people, because it's true. It's more than just a physical thing, it's a psychological thing, where it's like, I think badly of myself, therefore I'm going to continue eating, kind of thing.
And I treat myself badly because that's what I deserve. Like, I don't deserve like, and the thing is, I literally will I would slap myself in the face because I actually forgotten again. Okay, this is what I was gonna say, because basically, like, even with kids and all human beings, criticism doesn't work. Like, if you say to someone, you're so bad and you're so rubbish at this, do you think they're gonna say, oh, okay, let me just get better? Okay, some people thrive under that kind of, but it's negative. I don't like it. It's negativity. I think majority of people feel like, oh my God, that was so good, excellent, they're gonna want to do that more. You know?
That is something I really need to work on. Like, the people around me, it's easy to do with kids. If, for example, someone does something that annoys me, like, don't focus on the negative thing that they've done, like, focus on the good. But it's so easy to just focus on the negative, and like, I really don't want to be that person that focuses on the negative things people do.
It is easy. I used to always, but I was such a negative person, and sometimes I think to myself, how did I become this person? I don't know how I got here, because that person seems unrecognizable, where I'm like, you're such a nasty person. Not nasty, but just negative. And I think it's easy to be very negative if you're looking like, so if you're always finding the negative things, your mindset and your whole outlook is negative. So someone who's positive compared to someone who's negative could see the exact same thing, but the person still has a positive outset and that one has a negative outset, because you find what you look for. You focus on what you get. Like, if you focus on, this is going to be such a good day and I'm so excited for it, blah blah blah, and you say your du'as and you carry with the day and you do your prayers well, then you're going to have a good day. But if you're like, I'm tired, or like, you know what I mean, like, we always discuss this, but it's so true. Like, what you focus on, that's the day you're going to get. Like, it's all about perspective. It's not about what actually happens. Do you know what I mean? I think, because even in like how Elrod, he took in the Miracle Morning, he had cancer, his business went under. He could easily be negative, but he's not, because he always sees the positive things. Like,
yeah, it goes back to that thing that I posted on our story on Instagram, about, can you kind of determine your own happiness?
That's interesting.
And does it we determine our own happiness through the way we think and through the way we behave and through our mindset and through like positive thinking, things like that? And I feel like that is a big part of it. And I feel like everyone does have the capability of determining their own happiness. Obviously, let's put mental health issues to the side, because with that, it's like if you have an actual chemical imbalance in your brain and you've gone through like mad traumas in life, like it's not really possible to do. But if you're just always being negative and always being this pessimistic person, then you're not going to be happy. It's just not the way forward. Like, but yeah,
I think definitely you can determine your own happiness. Okay, but the thing is, this is something I wanted to say, I think just generally, like, because I think I don't know, but I feel like we are so positive, like especially on this podcast, which is good, but I think there is such thing as toxic positivity. I just wanted to make that point, because I feel like sometimes, but to be fair, we do say this, innit? Like sometimes if you're upset, be upset, that's fine.
yeah.
But I think sometimes it is okay to just be like, okay, that thing annoyed me, blah, 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 and just have a little rant or whatever, and then eventually move on, and it becomes
if something upset you, like allow yourself to feel that. But I think the problem is if you're upset 90% of the time, over things that you can not be upset about through changing your perspective, then that's an issue. But if it's like most of the time you are trying to stay positive and you try and see the good in things, and obviously every now and again you struggle with that and you just want to be sad, that's fine. Like,
and one big thing is like, were you finished? Sorry.
Yeah, I'd finished.
One main thing is like control. You cannot control things, and since I realized that, like life is just so much better. Like you're not in control. Okay, if I might sound a bit annoying, of course you're in control. Like you can make things happen, right? But you only can control what you can control. If you can't, let go. Like literally, if you can't let it go. And before I used to stress about things that I physically could not change. Like I can't change that. So now in my mind, like if there's something that I can't change, I genuinely don't worry about it, because I'm like, it's in Allah's hands. It is what it is. So like even with like COVID lockdown, I don't even worry about that, because I'm just like, I'm not even gonna entertain the conversation, because that's not something I can control. I can control my own actions. I can control how I feel. I can control what I do, but I can't control Boris Johnson or the government or anyone else on the street. It's just like, at the end of the day, you can't control people. Like whatever happens to you in life, like that's why, sometimes when something happens to you, someone did something to you, but someone's like to you, well, what are you going to do about it? It can make people feel a bit attacked or triggered, because it's like, that's not my fault. But it's like, you can't control that person. You can't control them. It's better for you to just forgive them and move on with what you want to do in life, because what they do, that's their own business.
Yeah, 100%. Like our minds are very powerful things, and like from the way we think and the way we then act from the way we think does determine a lot of what we're going to feel ultimately. Like if we're smiling all the time, like we're naturally going to feel more happy than if we're just like always feeling sad and down and like frowning. Like for example, if you're walking like with your shoulders high and like walking confidently, like you're going to feel more confident and come across more confident. But if you're walking like with your shoulders down, your head down, like acting all like nervous and shy, like that's going to come across and you're going to feel that. So it's kind of like in the way we think and the way we act will determine the way you feel in it. Obviously, with that said, I've experienced times where like I'm doing everything you're meant to do to make yourself feel happy, but you still feel sad. And it's like sometimes that just happens in life, like where you are trying your best and you're trying to do things that are good for you, but you still feel sad. And that as long as you keep trying and as long as you get help, if if you need help.
100%.
But
I was going to say, you know, just quickly on the self-love thing, do you think that is attached to your parents and stuff? Like for girls, do you think their relationship with their father is like important to self-love?
I feel like it depends what kind of relationship you have with your father. If your father, because you could have a good relationship with your father, but you could still maybe not like love yourself. I don't know. I think maybe like if you receive words of affirmation from your father, for example, like that, oh, you're beautiful, I love you, like you're this, you're that, you're that. Even from your mum, like I think that helps definitely. And if no one ever receives that, like no one's ever telling them these nice things, of course it's naturally going to be more difficult for you to think those things of yourself or love yourself, because you've never heard, like the most important people to you, who are your parents, are not saying those things to you. It's going to be difficult to like tell yourself those things. Yeah. But I think it's still possible. Sorry?
Yeah, because they're the representation of what love is like, or what
yeah, exactly. They're meant to unconditionally love you. Like your parents are the people in life who are always meant to be there for you. And if they're not like telling you they love you and things like that, obviously that's obviously, but then again, it's like they might express their love in a different way, like by always cooking for you, cleaning for you, providing for you, giving you money, like driving you places. There's so many ways your parents can show you love. And it kind of goes back to the whole 5 love languages thing. It's like
love languages.
Yeah. But
that's it. Yeah, maybe we'll save that for another one. But love languages is
save that for another one. But I think you still can like reach. You still can learn to love yourself, even if you've never felt love from your parents. Anything. Yeah. But it's like if I tell you, if you ask me, how do you know your mum loves you? She don't say things to me like, oh, you're beautiful, Habiba, I love you, you're amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? She doesn't say those kind of things. But I know she loves me. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Because just other things she does.
Yeah.
But yeah.
As long as a child knows they're loved, I think it is fine. But I think key thing to remember is that like it is a journey, and you're not just going to love yourself overnight. And the world that we live in and the society is not set up for us to love ourselves. We kind of look at people like, why are you being vain? Why are you being arrogant if they say something good about themselves? But I feel like it is changing, and more people are like accepting that and understanding, you know, that is important.
You honestly, I feel like it's really important for both men and women to like love yourself before you're like before you're married, kind of thing.
Because actually, like, do you think it's harder? What I do, I think you think it's harder to receive love if you don't love yourself, or to even give love if you don't love yourself?
I don't know, because I'm always up for receiving love. So I don't understand. I can't. I can understand. Maybe yeah, some people might have walls built up, and they might yeah, like if they're not in a happy place, or they're not kind of loving themselves, and they might. I can see why people might struggle to like accept love, but
or they accept something, as you were saying, like they accept something that's not good enough because they're just like, this is what it is, because they don't know that. As big example, if you have a good role model like in your parents and what your father does, as in, because I'm talking about fathers and daughters, because sometimes that can mirror, because it's like because basically I feel like if your father teaches you like this is what a man is supposed to do, how he treats your mom and how he treats you and how he holds you and makes you feel loved, then you can kind of relay that and be like, well, you know, this is what I expect. I have a high standard because this is what I know.
Yeah.
If you don't have that and you have 0, then you're going to be like, okay, I'll accept this, and it's like nothing.
Yeah, I think that's
and it's like it's nothing. And it's so cute because basically one of like the women is, she was talking about how her daughter, like she was saying her father, like she didn't receive any love and he's really strict and stuff, but her husband is like really loving towards her daughter, and she can see that in her as well, and how she's just so confident, and like she was just saying she doesn't want to get married young and stuff because like she's got her dad. So if she, it's so cute because it's like you can go anywhere, you can do anything, you can explore because you've got your dad with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes girls these days, like some of the reason they want to get married is because maybe they do want to travel, maybe they do want to experience this, maybe they do, and then you have that person with you. But if you have your dad, you can just do that anyway. And then when you're really ready for a relationship, then you kind of you can go ahead and do that. I just thought that was so cute.
Yeah, no, I think it is very important to have that relationship with your father and stuff, so that you can project that onto your future relationships with males. But at the same time, if you don't have that, it doesn't mean like you can't learn how.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you can still like learn. Okay, I didn't have that with my father, but I know that this is what is a requirement. This is what I deserve.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just harder work, I guess.
Yeah, it is just harder work.
Yeah. On the topic of self-love, obviously you're married, so how has being married helped you with your self-love journey? Like, do you feel like your husband helped you and encouraged you to love you more? Did you love yourself differently? Do you feel like you loved yourself to a good level before you were married? Or yeah.
Yeah, so I think like before I was married, I think I did love myself to like a good level because I wasn't so reliant on it. I wasn't like I need to have a man, and I was kind of working on myself. Obviously it wasn't so high, but it was like I'm working on myself, I'm growing my connection with Allah, and I'm okay. Like if I get married, I'm okay. If I don't get married, I'm okay. But obviously I think after you get married, it's supposed to, I think, make much higher, because it's like if someone else sees that beauty in you, then you're gonna see it in yourself. Like the same way that we sing with the parent and the child, like if your mum and dad are telling you you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're this, that, then you start to believe it because that's what you're hearing from the person that you live with every single day. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like in marriage as well, that has helped me. And I think that's the beautiful thing about being married. Like because it's like sometimes you can focus on the flaws of yourself, but there's another person that actually loves that about you and they love you. So of course you're gonna like think that about yourself. So yeah,
that's so beautiful. And I agree. Like I feel like if you get married and you don't love yourself more, what is your husband doing? Like he should be your biggest cheerleader. Do you know what I mean? Like you should be cheerleading yourself. This is how I see it. Like you should be cheerleading yourself and loving yourself and like feeling yourself, and not even just physical stuff, just the way you are as a person. And obviously always working with yourself. But when you get married, that should be like times 100, because someone else should be like cheerleading you on as well, kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's such a intense situation because it's like it's an intimate relationship. So if you are insecure about anything and the person doesn't make you feel secure in that, that's going to be a big problem in my opinion. Because like even if you get like a hint of like, oh my god, they don't like this about me or whatever, like you're going to magnify that and make it even worse. Because if you don't like something about yourself, it's just you, innit? Like I think you were saying this, like it's just you just have yourself to deal with and look in the mirror to yourself. But if you have someone else and they make you feel like that, I think that's just terrible. Because you wouldn't do that to your friend even. You would never try to make you would never, you know what I mean? You would go overboard to try and make your friend feel good. So why would you do that for your husband?
And that's why it's so important to love yourself before you get married, because then you have high standards of who you're going to marry. And then so when you do get married to that person, they're going to be making you feel good, and they're going to be all of that because you didn't settle for anything less. So
exactly, like in abusive relationships, people say things like I don't know, because you would think obviously if someone's saying things like I'm the only person that loves you, and like if you don't have me then no one else can love you, and you know all these things that you hear about in like, abusive relationships, even though it sounds crazy, I feel like it could happen, because if someone's like really close to you and you're in a relationship with them and they make you feel really good and they say things to you to like manipulate you, you're going to believe them. But I'm sure all the women in these kind of, or men in these situations would think, if someone said that to me, I would never accept that. But if you believe it about yourself already and you're like, I feel fat or something, and then your partner made a comment on that, not like a rude comment like, you fat pig, I don't even like you, not like that, but just a comment on it of like, so it makes you feel like you're lucky that they would even be with you, because who else would want you, like little things like that, and then they manipulate that, so you'd feel like, okay, yeah, I do need to be with this person. Like, that's obviously a red flag, you know?
Yeah, I think it's just so important as well, when we are looking to get married and stuff, to turn to Allah, like, and ask him to guide you in regards to whether or not that person's the right person for you.
Yeah, or maybe I don't know if you want
lots of istikhara and like lots of dua, because only Allah knows. Do you know what I mean? We don't know. Like, you might think someone's good for you, but they might be bad for you. And but if you turn to Allah and ask Allah to guide you, He'll make it clear, kind of thing.
Exactly, because like there was this girl that I know. She was like with this guy. She thought he was really good and amazing and everything. And then she was obviously making dua to Allah to like show her a sign to see if this is like the right thing. So this is not funny, but like she was on the phone to him, and then he was like being really rude to his mum.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, but do you know why I find that funny? Because you know, when like grown men, you're like touching 30 and like you're at home and you're being rude to your mom, like that's disgraceful. But also you're on the phone, so like you're not even pretending to be nice to your mom, like what the hell. And then she was like, he did that once, and then like another time, and she kind of said like, why are you doing that? And he was just like, I'm a grown man and I do what I like. But he was really nasty, like not very nice.
Bye.
So obviously she had to lock it off and stuff. And like, I was like, oh, that's so peak. And she was like, yeah, but it's a good thing if you see something, like, which is, so that's why you need to pray to Allah and like ask for a sign, because usually that's when you start to see like someone acting crazy. I don't think anyone should ever let the thought of like, I should be married now, or like I just want to be out of the house, or I just want to do this, and it's just not worth it, because
it's better to wait for the right person.
Exactly, because if you marry the wrong person, you're gonna maybe get divorced or be trapped in a bad marriage, and then if you do get out, you're gonna start all over again, and then you'll be even older. Like, obviously not that that's a problem, but if you think that because I'm old I need to just do it now, if you go into a marriage 2 years later, you get divorced, you're going to be even older. So, and you might have kids, you might not have kids, whatever it is, like, I think it is always better to wait. And I saw this tweet, and it was really good, because she was just talking about, or maybe it was in a podcast, and they were talking about how like everyone always talks about, we were creating in pairs, and like, it completes half your deen and blah blah blah, and it's true. And of course I would always encourage people to get married, but it's not the only way to get to Jannah. Do you know what I mean?
There were so many people great women who aren't married.
Like, it's not, don't put that pressure on yourself. It's just not the end goal, and it's not something that you should judge or value women by. It's not a thing that you need to just, let me just get this done. It's not like that. It's too big for that. Like,
and that's what I mean. If you're happy with being single, then you won't rush into getting married to the wrong person, because you're happy being single. So why are you gonna it's just...
Exactly. Because I feel like Will Smith said this, but like, whoever you're with, it's not their responsibility for your happiness. And I think we just said that as well. Like, you need to be happy in yourself regardless of other people, and whether or not you have someone. But obviously like, it is a good thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie and pretend that it's not. I just think I don't want girls to put pressure on themselves for no reason,
100%. But I think we should wrap up, because we've been talking for a very long time, and I'm starving, even though I just ate before we started.
What did you eat?
Porridge. But I'm so hungry. So okay, so thank you guys for listening.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you in episode 7, inshallah. We hope you enjoyed. Forgive if there's any background noise and all of that. But yeah, see ya.
Salam.